To move on here, we are going to be introducing some of the state officers here. We're going to go one by one, just having everyone say their name, our ranks, and a little bit of contact info. I believe Deva, you're starting us off.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dava Williams, and I'm your Vice President of Career Development. And my email is dwilliams@delawaredeca.org.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Rothstein. I'm the Vice President of Marketing, and my email is krothstein@delawaredeca.org if you need anything.
Hi, I'm Olivia Platt. I'm the Vice President of Finance, and my email is oplatt@delawaredeca.org.
Hi, I'm Colleen Flynn. I'm your VP of Hospitality, and if you need anything, you can email me at cflynn@delawaredeca.org.
Hey everyone, my name's Austin. I'm your State Vice President of Leadership, and you can always feel free to contact me at afutty, Futty, @delawaredeca.com or .org. Right?
Hey everyone, I am Dylan Roberts, your Delaware DECA State President. My email is droberts@delawaredeca.org. So our meeting schedule for tonight, this is going to be about 45-minute long meeting. We are going to start with an introduction and agenda, which is what we're doing right now. Some competition updates, what's going on with our career development conference in February, and what is going on with ICDC. A quick role play review, just give you guys some tips and tricks on how to break down a role play and how to be better at role plays, because it's something very important to DECA because most people do participate in role plays. And we're going to have a quick closing segment after that. So we're going to start with a little bit of an icebreaker. We kind of want to know why you guys joined your local DECA chapter. You can go to www.menti.com and use the code 56353-788 to participate. And I believe we also just put a link in the chat. Ms. Thomas did that for us. And I will stop screen sharing so she can put that up. Okay. So as you can see, the officers did already fill their answers in, and it is a lot of we were forced to. It seems that only one of us, and I'm not sure who, had a real genuine reason to join DECA, and it was to build better connections. So we want to hear from you guys. Why did you join DECA? What set you along this path? Was it your advisor forcing you like it seemed to be for all of us, or was it a little bit more fruitful in your participation? You're just interested in joining? We'd love to see people who just kind of find the organization interesting. That's our goal as state officers, is to make this a fun and inviting organization for all of you. That's actually a great thing. DECA is a very good thing to have on college applications, and it's also really fun. So being more involved with DECA as just a general club is really important. If anyone else wants to add their response, feel free. Give it a minute. If not, we can go ahead and move on. All right, then we go ahead and share this one. Here we are. I'm going to hand this off to Kayla for competition updates.
So we just have a couple competitions updates for tonight. First one is you will now be able to compete in both the role plays and prepared events, which will double your chances to get to ICDC. Now there is no limit on the number of students that can be in one competition. State competition will be fully virtual again, and competitions with under 4 competitors will be consolidated, and competitors in those events will have to choose a new event. So we're changing it a little bit, but it's for the best.
Okay, and so we did want to talk a little more on the fact that our competition is going to be virtual this year because we realized that might be disappointing for you guys that we can't all get together. So we just kind of wanted to explain the reasoning behind why we had to make that decision. So there were a lot of issues with finding a venue, and then beyond that, finding transportation to the venue, finding staffing for that venue. So and then all of that mixed with COVID, it just made it really difficult. So we understand that that is upsetting, but we are still doing our best to make sure it's a really special experience. It's not just going to be like you log on, you do your role play, and you get a medal in the mail or anything like that. I wasn't in Delaware last year, but I heard it was a little bit of a mess. So we're working on trying to get it more organized, and we're going to try to have some workshops for you guys, maybe an award ceremony all together. So we're doing our best to make sure that it's still fun, even though it's online. And if you are a registered DECA member and you're interested in taking the practice exams to help prepare yourself for competition, you can talk to your advisor and they'll be able to check you off for that and you can start preparing. All right, and then we have another little icebreaker. It's the same link that you used before. So you can tell us what events you're planning on competing in. Again, the officers did already put their answers in, but if you want to drop whatever you're planning on.
And it is just the same code. You guys should be able to respond if you maybe just reload the page from the same thing that you just used. And Ms. Thomas sent it in the chat again, just in case. Haven't decided yet. This is your first meeting. Whose first meeting is? Okay, I don't know who that is. Who this is their first meeting. Glad to have you. Glad that you decided to come join a DECA on deck. We're really happy to have you here. And if you're undecided on what competition you want to do, it's completely fine. You have a couple more weeks to really decide and figure out what you want to do. The best thing I can recommend and how I really found out my competition all these years ago, 4 years ago, is I looked on the website and kind of it breaks it down by like the job types. Find something that you're interested in. They have things from like fast food management to fixing cars. So there's a wide berth of things that you can really choose from. So find something that really appeals to you. And if you maybe want to rope someone else into it, do a team competition. They're really fun and they're a really great way to get more people involved.
Yeah, and more on advice for like picking competition. I don't know if you guys are new to DECA like as a whole or just this year or anything, but something for me, I had never taken a business class walking into DECA. So I started competing in the hospitality and tourism cluster. So there's 4 clusters, marketing, hospitality and tourism, business administration, and then finance. And marketing and finance are 2 of the categories that are kind of tougher if you've never taken a class before, just because it's a lot of like information that you got to learn about the category. So if you've never taken a business class and you're really new to the organization, you might want to consider a hospitality and tourism event or a business management and administration event. And you can always go to the DECA website. You can just Google DECA competitive events and it'll walk you through all the different events.
I think actually Ms. Thomas just put the link in the chat for us. If you just want to take a look there, like Dylan was saying, it breaks it down into each of the individual categories. So, just look at a couple of the examples and find something that really sparks your interest. That's the biggest part. Having something that you're interested in, you're going to be so much better at. We're happy to have you.
We really are. All right. Let me get the screen share going. There we go.
All right, guys, so continuing on the topic of events, as it was mentioned earlier, events that have less than 4 people in them will be getting cut this year. We wanted to do this because we wanted to ensure that events are still competitive, and we think that this is a good idea to really make the events more fun and more challenging and create a great experience for all of you. However, don't worry, because if your event is cut, you will be given the chance to pick a new event. So absolutely no worries. And this will also only affect role play events as well.
All right, so right now states for us is virtual, but so far, as far as we know, ICDC will be in person. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, from April 23rd to 26th. So this is kind of like your motivator to work hard at states and to qualify for ICDC, because then you'll have the chance to go to Atlanta for a few days and compete and do some other fun activities.
Let me switch this over. All right, so now we're going to give you guys the chance to kind of preview what a DECA roleplay looks like. Clearly, we have some first-time members here, so this will give you guys a good idea of how DECA competition works. And then for anyone who's coming back towards us, it'll give you a chance to. Screen sharing is paused. Why is that? Let's try this again.
We
There we go.
could see it. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So this will give you guys a chance to kind of get some tips and tricks from someone who's competed a lot. I know my way around competition. So this is a human resource management series event. These events are really focused on dealing with tough employee situations and really the personal aspect of business. So I will go ahead and read this to everyone. You are to assume the role of human resource directors for Couch Games, an independent developer of multi-platform and mobile games. The president of the company has asked you to recommend a workplace procedure regarding staff dating. Couch Games prides itself on being named one of the top medium-sized companies to work for in the nation. With just over 200 employees, Couch Games headquarters office has a fun, playful atmosphere that encourages employees to play branded games during scheduled breaks. The company is relatively new, but in the last year doubled its number of employees due to its success. During a one-on-one meeting with an employee, the president of Couch Games was made aware that the person on the marketing team was dating someone in the finance department. At first, the president thought it was simply gossip, but later realized that inter-office dating relationships need to be addressed to the entire staff. Currently, there are no policies or procedures regarding staff dating in the employee handbook. The 200 employees at Couch Games are divided into 5 different departments: executive, marketing, sales, finance, and human resources. Within each department are directors, managers, specialists, and administrative positions. The president of Couch Games has asked you to create a statement or policy for employees of the company regarding inter-office relationships. The president wants you to ensure that procedures and the nature of the relationships are ethical. The procedures should include a workplace statement on inter-office relationships to include dating and other elements that might affect the workplace, a timeline for employees to disclose inter-office relationships, an explanation of how to enforce the policy affecting all levels of seniority within the company, action steps for employees if a relationship is terminated, and procedures to maintain confidentiality. You will present your workplace procedures to the president in a role play to take place in the president's office. The president will begin the role play by greeting you and asking to hear your ideas. After you have presented the recommendations and answered the judge's questions, the president will conclude the role play by thanking you for your work. So that is, when you are competing in DECA, that is all you're going to see. The rest of the stuff is what the judge sees, and we'll go over that in a second. You also get these performance indicators up here. These performance indicators are how you are graded in your role play. You have to hit these 5 performance indicators. And if we go down and look at the grading rubric, these are the majority of your points. There are some points here that come from the 21st century skills, and those are your presentation skills. Those are just how well you kind of conduct yourself and how, I don't want to say convincing you are, but how confident you are in yourself to present the information that you know. Your performance indicators are really what you just have to kind of hit on each time. You need to talk about, here is for the situation, what are the ethics of this? How am I going to implement it? How am I going to ensure that workplace relationships don't interfere with the workplace? How do I ensure that doesn't become a toxic environment? What can I do as a human resource manager to ensure that the workplace remains a safe and accepting environment while still allowing intra-office relationships? And that's kind of what this is asking for here. This is really just a more explained performance indicator section. As far as what the judge sees, the judge is going to have a set of questions to ask you, which are down here. You're going to try and have to answer those questions as best of your ability. You're going to kind of maybe you won't see these beforehand, so they might blindside you. And if they do blindside you, oftentimes the best thing to do, if you are completely stumped, you don't know what to say to the judge, say to them, I'll get back to you on that later. That is the best way to answer a role play question that you don't have any clue what's going on, because instead of making something up, if you really are truly stumped and you have no idea, this still gives you a chance to kind of maintain the business aspect and the business composure, because in this role play, you are acting like you are a human resource manager and you would have your boss's email and you could get back to them later on that. Obviously, you wouldn't in this role play, but that gives you a chance to still have that business composure. What you really want to do is in your 10 minutes, which is how long you have to prepare for a role play if you're doing a single, you might want to make an outline, make kind of sort of a draft talking points on what you want to do and what you want to talk about. And you just want to make sure that each of your talking points aligns with one of these 5 performance indicators and that you hit all 5. It's really important that you at least mention all 5 of these performance indicators. You want to ensure that you are really broadly talking about everything that you have to talk about. And if you do that, overall, you're going to receive a high score on your role play. As long as you hit those performance indicators, it's awesome. Another thing I recommend is creativity. It may be not necessarily applying to human resource management as much, but if you were in a marketing cluster or a, what's the other one? Finance. Marketing and finance both are surprisingly creative in how you can approach them. Be creative. Post something that you wouldn't normally think of. Post something to the judge that may seem a little bit silly, but is still effective. That really gets their attention and gives them a chance to really understand what your process is when thinking. So that is our role play tips from our state officers. Go back to the main slides.
And so I know that we were talking a little bit about role plays versus the prepared events. So role plays is if you do like an individual or a team like series event. And so then you'll go into competition, you'll take a test, and then you'll do that role play that you just saw. If you choose to do a prepared event, that's more like a project. You'll write a paper and then you'll have 10 minutes to present it, and then the judge can ask you questions. So it's 2 different things. That's just one of the options.
Hey Dylan, real quick, do you mind if I steal the screen share so I can show everybody how to find the competitive events on
Sure.
the DECA Compete page?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Alrighty, can everybody see that all right? Fantastic. So this is the link that Ms. Thomas put in the chat earlier. You can just look up DECA competitive events, anything like that. And it should just be the first result right there. So you're going to see this here on the beginning of the page. These are some very general resources right here. They're fantastic things to help, but they are not the actual individual events. To find those, you're going to go down here, and this is the master list of all of the events that you can find. And you know, if any of these really catch your eye, then you can go over here and sort them by individual categories. This is where you can really find that information on them. So like say you wanted to give personal financial literacy a shot. You can actually go here and find an example exam and look all the way through it, preview some of the questions, just to know what you're getting into and to see if you really find it interesting. Because like we were talking about earlier, the more you, not only the more knowledge you have about something, but just the more interested in it you are, the more you're going to be able to put towards that energy to the judge. And so you can also check out the performance indicators on here. You can see the actual event. what you're doing, see the outline. This is usually an event from a past year, so this is exactly what they would use. So you're not going to have any trouble with just being blindsided by something that's completely out of like what you've seen before, format wise, on what they're going to hand you when you go to compete this year. And that's pretty much it for here. You can just click through any of these categories. You can see the online events, anything like that. And like I said, up here, you've got some more general resources. They've got some tips up here, anything else you might find interesting. And I would actually recommend just surfing through the DECA site. A lot of times they'll post like in their newsletter and stuff like that, just some kind of helpful tips and tricks, which you might not have thought of beforehand. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the site here. I just wanted to make sure to give you guys an overview.
Thank you, Alston. And then Kayla's going to plug our social media.
Follow us. Sorry. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Delaware_DECA. Our flyer goes up first on the Instagram, so if you want to know when our next deck on deck is, or keep up with the officer team as we post our updates, make sure to follow us on there. And then we have a website as well, which has a lot of up-to-date information that you can use towards your competitions.
Yep. Once again, thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Feel free to get your chapters involved, tell them what we're doing here in the state, share it with your friends, get people going to competition. Thank you all and have a great night.